What's up, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. This is a live stream, and this is Decoding with Cody. And today is April 26th, 2026. And we have a full decode of last night's events. Happened while I was fast asleep here in Europe. Woke up to this, and so now we have a decode. But before we get into it, please hit that thumbs up in the live stream chat if you guys can hear me. Make sure that volume is working. I'll wait. Okay, there's that thumbs up from Sojourn. Appreciate that, Sojourn. Thank you. And thank you, Coffee Girl, for being here always. And I hope you guys are all well as usual. Always like to give my love out to the viewers as we tune in. And especially when we're decoding such trickery and con artist type stuff, it's good to keep a good, nice, positive energy and just trust God for all of our truth and not the media. Of course, we all know this is staged. Anyone who thinks this is real, this is about as real as aliens and invasions. Okay, this is as real as it gets, guys. I'm just kidding. It's not real at all. And again, how many times have we decoded the last time that Trump was supposedly shot? Of course, that's going to tie into this. And it's just, give us something else, man. That's all I'm saying. How many times are we going to get this Trump almost gets shot somewhere thing? It's just getting old. But at the end of the day, there is a lot of symbolism here. And we definitely have a lot to look at as far as esoteric, occult symbolism. And again, these things happen because they need to happen for these rituals and these astrological alignments. Let me show you why I believe that they needed to do this last night. It was all because of an astrological alignment. And I'm going to show you probably why we got this on the day we got this. At least one of the reasons. And then we're going to go over all the other reasons why we got this hoax story on this day. But again, a lot of people didn't know. I knew this because I've watched Waters Above Crypto, and he's been talking about April 25th. And last night, of course, was April 25th. But what happened on April 25th? Yeah, it's interesting. Susan Donahue's mentioning the connection with Artemis, the space launch. You know how the Artemis had a Dorothy and the three, how the four astronauts supposedly on the Artemis, they were a woman and then three men, just like the Wizard of Oz was a woman and three men. And this is most certainly connected. This whole month has been a month of magic tricks. And of course, we've already covered this many times on this channel. If you guys are new to the channel, please go back and watch my videos from the whole month of April, because everything that's been happening in April is continued in this decode. Okay, I can't even go over it all again, because again, we've covered magic this month. We've covered the fake space stuff, which connects to the moon. I've covered the dark side of the moon symbolism, and don't forget that today is the anniversary of the first spacecraft supposedly landing on the dark side of the moon. Today is also Melania Trump's birthday. So this shooting happens on the eve of Melania Trump's birthday. And you know what I noticed too? There's not a lot of viewers, even on Zach's decodes and other truther channels. You would think something like this would draw in some extra views, but I think people are just so tired of the bull crap that people just really don't care anymore. Normally, I have about 150 in here by now, and I only have 95, and that's okay. I'm not complaining about that. Actually, I think it's a good thing, because most people are probably just absolutely fed up with all this. And again, the only reason I do this on this channel is to show the symbolism, the deeper symbolism, I just think people are tired of it, like me. But my channel is here to show these things. So, of course, I'm going to go live. But I'm just starting this decode by being the voice of reason and just saying, guys, this is no different than any of these other things that have happened, you know? So it's just kind of being aware of what's going on is a good thing. It's just a good thing to be aware. Okay, that's the big point, but not to fall for it, right? And so again, let me show you the astrological thing that happened last night. And again, I don't fully believe in what NASA says. I'm not saying that, but I'm just saying there is an astrological event that you can see in the sky that happened last night when this shooting happened. Okay, so let's just look at that first. So this is what we call Uranus in Gemini. And you guys might be like, okay, what does this have to do with a shooting? So Uranus in Gemini, so it's going to be, so when Uranus moves into a sign, it stays there for about 7 years. So this is not something that happened. This is not something that happens every year, every month. This happens every 7 years. Now, Gemini, so Uranus moved into Gemini. Gemini is the sign of trickery and is the sign of who? Donald Trump. Gemini, the sign of Donald Trump. And Donald Trump is a Gemini ruled by Mercury. And Mercury is the god of trickery. You guys get where I'm going with this? Uranus is moving into the sign of trickery, the sign of the twins, and Mr. S is pointing out something great. The shooter is Thomas. His name is Thomas, and Thomas means twin. And look at the guy's birthday. He's born on the twin day, on the 11th, like the twins. And April 11th, what? April 11th? Have we not talked about that date all month? Did we not talk about that date with the Artemis launch? Remember how Anton LaVey is born on April 11th? So Anton LaVey is born on April 11th, and now the shooter, and remember, Trump runs on MAGA, and MAGA is the highest degree of the Church of Satan. And MAGA is a reference to magic, okay? It's all going to come together. Again, MAGA, Church of Satan. MAGA or Magus is the 5th degree of the Church of Satan. Trump, the president, runs on MAGA. And the shooter has the same birthday as the Church of Satan founder. I mean, look right here, April 11th, right? April 11th. I mean, just how much of a mockery it really is. His name is Thomas, like the twin, which is the Gemini, which is the Mercury, which is the trickster, which is the MAGA or the Magus. Remember, the first card in the tarot deck, which we've talked about multiple times this month, is the Magus. And the Magus is the magician. And who was standing next to Trump when the shooting supposedly started? Oh, it was only a magician. Okay? And this just kind of proves my decodes from all month. I was talking about the magician all month, was I not? Raise your hand in the chat if you guys remember how on this channel we've been covering the magic card. We've been covering the magician. Remember when Trump posted himself as the Magus, as the magician? I mean, it just happened. Did this just not happen? Like a week, right after the Church of Satan's, guys, Trump posted this picture as the Magus one day after the shooter's birthday. April 11th is the shooter's birthday. Trump posted himself as the Magus 1 day later. I mean, that's even crazier to think about. And now, just 13 days later, you get this, and the shooter just happens to have the birthday 4/11, which is the Satan connection, which is 1 day before Trump posted this. And again, the Magus is the first card in the Aleister Crowley tarot deck. Okay? Now, if we just, speaking of Aleister Crowley, I mean, let's just start with this. We've talked about Aleister Crowley this month. Speaking of Aleister Crowley, we've talked about how he wrote the Book of Thoth, which is Hermes, which is Gemini, which is Mercury, the trickster. Okay? And we've talked about how Crowley wrote the Book of the Law, which was all about the number 93. Thelema 93, right? Okay, you guys know this. You guys have probably heard this. Thelema, the Book of the Law, all based on the number 93, okay? So how does that factor in to this? Well, if we do a quick measurement from July 13th, 2024, the last time Trump was supposedly hoax shot, to this new hoax, check this out, guys. It's exactly 93 weeks. So again, 93 weeks from the last hoax to this hoax. And again, Trump is the moonchild of Aleister Crowley. We've talked about that many times. Aleister Crowley, the moonchild, 93. What does moonchild equal? Look at this. Moonchild. Oh, look. Moonchild equals 93. So the moonchild gets his second hoax shot 93 weeks apart. Okay? Again, this is Thelema's number. This is where Aleister Crowley, do what thou wilt, 93, right? So again, 93 weeks between the last hoax to this hoax. That's the point here, okay? Now, we're also going to talk about the book of magic, the history of magic. His story of magic. And I want you guys to notice the gematria of the book, The History of Magic, 93. And when Trump got shot, there was a magician standing next to him. We're going to get into him. We're going to talk about the Wizard of Oz. Wizard, magic, okay? But yeah, the history of magic also equals 93. So does Liber Alveligis. And Liber Alveligis is the name of the book of the law Aleister Crowley wrote in Latin, okay? 93. So all of this 93 stuff is all syncing back to Trump, his two hoaxes, 93 weeks apart, okay? And that, again, that's from July 13, 2024 to yesterday, okay? Moonchild 93, all that stuff I already mentioned, right? And so now that we got the 93s out of the way, I had to talk about the 93 first because it really is a big part of this, but we're going to focus on some other numbers that are even more important to this ritual as well. Specifically, we've already talked about MAGA, but let's just hear what Caroline Leavitt said right before the, please hit those likes, guys. I mean, I'm hoping that the world will wake up and see that this cannot be a coincidence. Let's listen. Let me know if you guys can't hear this, but let's listen to what Caroline Leavitt said before the event even happened. Okay, this again, before the event.
Ready to rumble, is he not?
He is ready to rumble. I will tell you, this speech tonight will be classic Donald J. Trump. It'll be funny. It'll be entertaining. There will be some shots fired tonight in the room. Some shots fired tonight. Some shots fired tonight. Some shots fired tonight.
There will be some shots fired tonight. I mean, guys, if people are not waking up to this by now, you must literally be brain dead. You must literally be brain dead. Let me play it one more time. I don't even need numbers.
Shots fired tonight in the room. There will be some shots fired tonight in the room. There will be some shots fired tonight in the room.
There will be some shots fired tonight in the room. I mean, again, I'm not the first one to report this. Truth Seeker channel already showed this. Donut already showed this. Shout out to Donut. Zach Hubbard already showed this. All these other great decoders have already showed this. But everyone needs to see this. I'm doing my video, so I need to show this too. But everyone's already seen this. And again, the whole world should be saying, oh my gosh, what is going on here? Okay. Now, Gemini, Uranus moved into Gemini. And what date did Uranus move into Gemini? Let me get it up here. Did I lose it? Okay, so Uranus moved into Gemini. The 7-year cycle for Uranus began on April 25th, 2026. Guys, they did this. I'm telling you, this is why. They did this. They had to do this. Why did they have to do this? They had to pay tribute to Uranus moving into Gemini. I'm telling you, this is the whole reason this happened. They needed to pay tribute to this astrological thing that's going on. The last time that Uranus in Gemini was during World War II, during the birth of modern radio and television and wartime aviation. Guys, the last time this happened was during World War II, during the birth of radio and television. Television. Okay? That transient was between 1941 and 1949. And you're telling me that on the exact day that Uranus moved in to Gemini, you get this. Now let's read about what this could implicate. Significant advancements in electric vehicles and the possible realization of full self-driving cars. That's interesting. But let's just compare this to the shooting here. Uranus is the planet of sudden disruption, shock, and rebellion. Gemini rules media and journalists and communication. The violence was targeted on a media gala, okay? A correspondence gala, okay? So Uranus is about disruption, and it's about and Gemini, where it moved into, is about communication and journalists. Guys, the whole thing was about journalists. It's clear why they did this when they did it. They had to do it, even though it was the stupidest ritual they could ever do and no one believes it. They had to do it to pay tribute to the astrological event that's going on in the sky. That's why they had to do it, because it's all about sudden shock events and journalists. And Caroline Leavitt comes out and says there will be shots fired.
Some shots fired tonight.
She's the secretary, the press secretary, the one who talks to the journalists and the reporters every day. She's the one that had to be used in this ritual because she's the communicator. She's communicating to you because Gemini is communication, it's Mercury, it's trickery. All right, communication. So it's clear that this is, and that's why I started with this Gemini Uranus alignment. Just go look up videos, all the astrologers telling you about what's going to happen when Uranus moves into Gemini. Again, it's going to be there until 2033. So it's not going to be moving back out of Gemini for a long time. So this is kind of the reason why I think they had to do this. They had to pay tribute to this astrological alignment in the sky. And they had to do it with something with communication. They had to make it about Gemini, which Trump is. Remember, the whole thing that Caroline Leavitt said was Trump's going to do a speech, right? Communication.
There will be some shots fired tonight.
There will be some shots fired at the communication ball, right? Gemini, and Trump is a Gemini. Now, let's just get into my slides. I hope I've laid out the most important parts first, but let's get into the extra important parts I made slides for. So let's go into the numbers. Now that we've proven the astrological alignment and the clear hoax alignment, let's just talk about the numbers, all right? So one thing that I have not seen anyone talk about is that this is actually a very interesting day to have this event also, because yesterday, April 25th, is what there's known as Liberation Day in Italy. So Liberation Day in Italy, what is that about? Well, that's liberation from the you-know-what occupation during World War II. What was happening during World War II? Again, I just told you the last time Uranus was in Gemini was in World War II. But check this out. This holiday in Italian is called Festa della Liberazione, which equals 123, guys. There's going to be two numbers we're going to focus on that manifested during this ritual. 123, okay, and 201. 123 and 201. Just keep those numbers. So the name of this holiday, Liberation Day in Italy. Now, why am I bringing up Italy? Well, first of all, there's a really interesting fact that I haven't also seen anyone talk about. Al Pacino, Mr. Al Pacino, when was his birthday? Oh, his birthday was April 25th, yesterday. How old did Al Pacino turn yesterday? He turned 86. Now, 86 means to get rid of. Now, someone tried to 86 Mr. Trumpy last night. Al Pacino turned 86. Now, what movie was Al Pacino famous for? The Godfather. And when you think of The Godfather, you think of Italy. You think of the mafia. You think of Trump. He's the Don, right? Michael Corleone, a World War II veteran, the youngest son of the Don. So yesterday, let me just bring this back around. Yesterday was the birthday of Al Pacino, the Godfather. That connects us back to Italy. Now, I told you yesterday was also the celebration in Italy of liberation. Festa della Liberazione equals 123. Now, check this out, guys. White House correspondence equals 123 in the same cipher. So is this a coincidence? On the holiday called Festa della Liberazione, which equals 123, you have a shooting at the White House Correspondents' Dinner, which equals 123. Now, when you type out White House Correspondents' Dinner shooting, which is what this was, it equals 201. Now, this is a big one. If you go to the Francis Bacon simple gematria cipher, check this out. This happened on April 25th. April 25th equals 201. Yes, Al Pacino was in Devil's Advocate also. Maybe at the end of the decode, we'll go over some Al Pacino movies and find some other connections. But I didn't want this decode to be just focused on Al Pacino because it's important, but I don't think it's the most important part of the ritual. I think the Wizard of Oz and the magic is the most important part. So yeah, April 25th equals 201. Can you believe it? And again, White House Correspondents' Dinner shooting equals 201. Now look at this. Credit to Zach Hubbard, who already covered this. Of course, you know he was going to be on the 201s already. But again, shout out to him for all his Jesuit work. But look at this. April 25th equals 201. Yesterday was 201 days before the leader of the Jesuit order, Arturo Sosa's birthday. Now, remember, I told you the big numbers here are 123 and 201. Check out what Arturo Sosa equals, 123. Check out what the Jesuit order equals. Again, he's the superior general of the Jesuit order, 201. This was 201 days before his birthday. But again, check out what the festival they celebrated in Italy equals. Festa della Liberazione equals 201 and 123. Now, the Jesuits served the Catholic Pope, which equals 123 and 201. And you could say that this is kind of like a Catholic Mass ritual, which equals 123 and 201. Okay? So you see how these numbers, they follow each other, okay? 123, 201. You see how everything equals 123 or 201, everything, okay? White House Correspondents' Dinner shooting equals 201. White House Correspondents equals 123. April 25th equals 201. Arturo Sosa equals, I mean, this right here is all you need to see. 201 days before the Jesuit order's leader's birthday. The Jesuit order 201. All right. Now this is going to get way deeper, guys. I'm going to take this way deeper. You might be like, Cody, just the 201s again. We know about this, right? But no, we're going to take this way, way deeper. And this is going to be kind of mind-blowing when we figure out that this actually goes back thousands of years. And I think I understand more what the Jesuits are now. I think they're Zoroastrian priests, or at least partially what they are. But I'm going to explain why I think the Zoroastrian part is so big here. Now, I mentioned the magician who was next to Trump, literally standing next to him. Now, if anyone can find out what was on this card here, you know, I cannot read this, and I have not been able to find a picture clear enough to read this card. But here's the magician. His name is Oz Perlman, or also known as Oz the Mentalist. So guys, all month I've been talking about the magician and Donald Trump. And during this event, you're telling me that a magician was literally holding a card up next to Trump and Melania right as the shooting supposedly took place? Now, in my last decode, I mentioned that the book by Eliphas Levi called The History of Magic equals 201. Okay, going back 201 days before the Jesuit leader's birthday, which is their big number, 201, okay? But the book, The History of Magic, equals 201. Now, a magician was next to Trump. Jesuit sorcerers also equals 201, somebody pointed out in the last stream, which is really crazy. Jesuit sorcerers equals Catholic Pope, and the Jesuit sorcerers served the Catholic Pope. And of course, the Catholic Pope is in Italy, Rome, which is, again, yesterday was a celebration in Italy for liberation, okay? So, I mean, which equals 123, but it also equals 201. Festa della Liberazione equals 201. I mean, can you believe that? The name of the celebration in Italian even equals 201. I mean, what? So now we're going to go back to the 123s really fast. Yes, Sky Girl, you're already getting ahead of me. Just wait till you guys see what I found. Again, this is going to go so much deeper than what you guys understand. The suspect's motives unclear after shots fired. Now, I want to place emphasis on the word fire, okay? Fire. This is going to be the emphasis. But again, let's look at this before we move on to the fire part. Arturo Sosa, the leader of the Jesuits, equals 147 and 123. Trickster equals 123. Again, there was a trickster. This is Mercury, the devil, the trickster. The magus, okay? Shots fired, look at this. Shots fired equals Arturo Sosa. This was the phrase everyone was using, shots fired. Conspiracy equals 123 and 147, like shots fired. Look at the shooter's name, Cole Thomas Allen, 147, in the same cipher as the Jesuit leader, Arturo Sosa. Are you kidding me? Cole Thomas Allen, 147, Arturo Sosa, 147, shots fired, 147, conspiracy, 147. White House Correspondents, 123, like Arturo Sosa. So, again, but look, this is the big one, guys. So the guy's name, the magician who was next to Trump, his name was Oz. This should immediately make every person in the entire decoding community stop and say, oh, there must be a connection to the Wizard of Oz. There has to be, okay? And of course, this whole thing is going to connect to the Wizard of Oz because the guy's name is literally Oz, okay? And let's not overlook the fact that he's a mentalist, a mental energy. This ritual is supposed to get in mental energy from people to mental mind control. Again, mind control tactics, mentalism, okay, reading. The guy was supposedly there to read Trump's mind, which, you know, is just ridiculous. But look at this. So I've talked about 123, right? Look at this. The wonderful Wizard of Oz equals 123. How about that? But look how many days this happened before the United States release date of the Wizard of Oz. 123 days. Mic drop. Again, I set the whole thing up with 123, right? And then the one part that we still didn't connect, it was 123 days before the anniversary of the Wizard of Oz released. And the original name of the book, The Wonderful Wizard of Oz, equals 123. So that's why you have Oz right there. 123 days before before the movie release in the United States. Of course, this was all about the United States, the White House, the capital of the United States. And you could also go to the August 10th date, which was the Green Bay. And isn't it interesting they released the Wizard of Oz in Green Bay, like the Emerald City? Green Bay. But look at this. The Wizard of Oz, the wonderful Wizard of Oz equals 123. That's our big number, right? According to the novel, Dorothy and the Wizard of Oz, he used only the initials of his first two names, O and Z, because the initials of his full name spelled Pinhead. So what is the full name of the Wizard of Oz? Oscar Zoroaster Friedrich Isaac Norman Henkel Emmanuel Ambrosia Diggs. If you spell that all out in initials, it spells Oz Pinhead. So the entire initials of the Wizard of Oz, Oz Pinhead, sums to 677. That's the 123rd prime number. Again, the wonderful Wizard of Oz, 123, his initials, Oz Pinhead, sums to the 123rd prime number. This happened 123 days before the movie anniversary. And again, conspiracy 123, shots fired 123, trickster 123. The Wizard of Oz is a trickster. Arturo Sosa, who we've already connected, the Jesuit leader, 123. Catholic Pope, 123. All these 123. But let's focus on the next most important part of this. Notice that he only used his name O and Z. What does O and Z stand for? O and Z stands for Oscar Zoroaster. Here's where we get really interesting. The only name he keeps for his Oz initials is Zoroaster. This was the big clue, guys. I was already looking into Zoroastrianism before I even knew that this guy's middle name was Zoroaster. And it really explains everything once you really look into Zoroastrianism. Take a look at this. The cauldrons at the Ashtash Baram, the fire temple in Iran, the longest burning flame in history, are still burning to this day. Now look at the cauldrons. that they see when they come to confront the Wizard of Oz in the movie. You see cauldrons of fire, just like the Zoroastrian fire in the temple in Iran. This is all happening. All this magic stuff is happening because Iran is the epicenter of the magus. Iran is the epicenter of the magi, of the magus, the magic. Okay? And it all goes back to the fire priests. And what are the Jesuits? They're fire. Ignatius of Loyola told the Jesuits to go set the world on fire, like the priests of Zoroastrianism. They keep the fire burning. So why is the guy's middle name, the Wizard of Oz, why is his middle name Zoroaster? Because he is the Zoroastrian priest. That's who he is. But this gets even crazier. The connection between Zoroaster and magic is one of the oldest linguistic and cultural links in human history. The very words magic and magician are directly derived from the priests of Zoroaster. Guys, we've already talked about this month, but I just want to restate it. Zoroaster, his priests, the magi, the magus, this is the origin of the modern magic. And that's why you have a magician at the shooting last night. Zoroaster, or Zarathustra, was the ancient Persian prophet who founded Zoroastrianism. The hereditary priests of this religion were called the Magi, which is singular for magus. And again, what is the first card in the tarot deck? The magus. And again, what did Trump post himself as just last week? The magus. And he posted himself as the magus in the midst of a war with Iran. And Iran is where the magi come from. The magus, the Wizard of Oz, comes from Zoroastrianism, okay? Oscar Zoroaster, again, that's his full name. This is why there had to be a war between the United States and Iran right now. It's all has to pay tribute to Zoroastrianism and magic, okay? Zarathustra Spritama, most commonly known as Zoroaster, was an Iranian religious reformer who challenged the tenets of contemporary ancient Iranian religion, becoming the spiritual founder of Zoroastrianism. So now we have to take a look at the book that connects to all this, because The History of Magic by Eliphas Levi. In the book, classic and Hellenistic Greeks and later Romans and writers frequently depicted Zoroaster as the inventor of magic and founder of the Magi, often portraying him as the ancient Babylonian or Bactrian sorcerer or astrologer. Guys, astrology. The Zoroastrian priests were known for their astrology. Did I not start this video by telling you that they had to pay tribute? They had to pay tribute yesterday to the astrological event occurring in the sky at the time of the shooting. The Zoroastrian priests were astrologers and very capable astrologers, okay? But look at this. Look at this. This is in the Latin cipher. Very hard to get matches. The History of Magic is a direct match to Zoroaster. Okay, this is not a coincidence. Because essentially we're talking about the history of magic. Zoroaster can be traced back to the literal beginning of magic, the Magi. And who was on again, what did I talk about at the beginning of this month? Who was on the spaceship that was supposedly went to the moon? It was Wise Man. I talked about the Magi in that decode. And here it is again coming up. Everything I've talked about this month is still playing out in the same way. And again, Trump posted himself as the Magi, as the magician, as the magus. He is the MAGA. And remember, early this month, we already connected Aleister Crowley and that the original word magus came from the Zoroastrian priest. Again, that's where this all goes back to. This is why Iran is the big story right now. But now let's look at the book that we're talking about. I found a few pages of the book, The History of Magic. Look at this. The Zoroaster is in question was the father of materialized. I'm reading directly from this book, guys. Okay, so this is not anyone else's writing. This is Eliphas Levi's writing in his book of the book of the history of magic. Okay, the Zoroaster in question was the father that materialized magic, which led to the massacre of the Magi and brought their true doctrine at first into prescription and then oblivion. Ever inspired by the spirit of truth, the church was compelled to condemn under the names of magic and whatever that word is, I don't know how to say it, Illuminism and Masonry, all that was in kinship, remote or approximate, with the primitive profanation of the mysteries. One signal example in the history of the Knights Templar, which has been misunderstood to this day. The doctrines of the true Zoroaster are identical with those of pure Kabbalism, and his concepts of divinity differ in no wise from those of the fathers of the church. It is the names only that vary. For example, the triad of Zoroaster is the trinity of Christian teaching. So again, this goes back to the Catholic Church. I've already tied this to the Catholic Church and the Jesuit priests. And when he postulates that the triad as subsisting without diminution or division in each of its units, he is expressing in another manner that which is understood by our theologians as the circumcision of the divine persons. In his multiplication of the triad by itself, Zoroaster arrives at the absolute reason of the number 9 and the universal key of all numbers and forms. But those whom were termed the three divine persons are called the three depths by Zoroaster. The first, or that of the Father, is the source of faith. The second being the Word. Again, this is before Christ. This is before the Bible, guys. Zoroaster was talking about the Word. The Son is the well, or the Word, the second being of the Word, is the well of truth. While the third, or the creative action, is the front of love, the Holy Spirit, in essence. To check what is here advanced, the reader may consult with the commentary of Pelesis on the doctrine of the ancient Assyrians. It may be found in the work of Franciscus Patrius on philosophical magic. Yeah, I mean, it's all the same word for fallen angels. Yes, exactly. But I'm just reading this because I want you guys to get an understanding that in the book of the history of magic, Eliphas Levi talks about Zoroaster many times. Look at this. How many times does he mention Zoroaster? Again, what did I just show you? The name of the book literally equals Zoroaster in the cipher that's hard to get matches. So this tells you the whole book. And even look at the guy on the front, even though I know that's kind of more like Hermeticism, it does look a lot like a priest from Iran, to be honest, or maybe even a priest in Kabbalah. Even, or it could look like a bunch of different things. But so let's go to the second page. This is where it gets interesting. This is why the disciples of Zoroaster. Hold on, let me read this. Okay. Here ends the first initiation, and the scholastic hypotheses begin. Numbers are personified, and ideas pass into emblems, which at a later period became idols. Idols. The synox, the telectar, I can't even read this. Hectate, man, there's some hard words in here. All these intervene. The angels follow in their order, and the demons and lastly, human souls. The stars are images and reflections of intellectual splendors. The material sun is an emblem of the sun of truth, which itself is a shadow of the first source, whence all glory springs. This is why the disciples of Zoroaster saluted the rising day and so passed as sun worshippers among the barbarians. I find this very interesting because we talk about the Jesuits, okay? Let me just bring up the Jesuits, okay? So Zach Hubbard, when he originally put this info out, he drew us an emphasis on the Jesuit order, right? And everyone else kind of realized that there's something interesting about the Jesuit order. And notice that their logo is the sun, okay? Now, the Zoroastrian priests, they essentially looked at the sun, the physical sun, the material sun, as a symbol. They didn't worship it, it says. If you read this part, it says, this is why the disciples of Zoroaster saluted the rising sun and so passed as sun worshippers to the barbarians. So to the Gentiles or to the barbarians who weren't initiated, the Zoroaster priests seemed to be worshiping the physical sun. But what they were actually doing was worshiping nothing. They were actually only using the physical sun as a symbol. That's what this is saying. Such was the doctrines of the Magi, but they were the possessors in addition of the secrets which they gave mastery to the occult powers of nature. The sum of these secrets might be termed transcendental pyrotechny, for it was intimately related to the deep knowledge of fire and its ruling. Guys, the Jesuits, their whole thing is led by Ignatius. Ignatius literally means to ignite a fire. He told the Jesuits to go out and set the world on fire. The Zoroastrian priests were called transcendent. This is the words of Eliphas Levi. Transcendental pyrotechny. Now, what the heck is that? Check this out. I found this super interesting. Remember, Eliphas Levi mentions transcendental pyrotechny. Look at the name of the association that was holding the event last night, where the big words before the stream were shots fired. Fire. Transcendental pyrotechny equals White House Correspondents Association. Guys, and let me show you how many words in the database of Gematrinator have a match to this number. This is improbable. Because let me go over to the calculator and let me type in 26. What's the number again? 2675. We already said it was a false flag. We're not talking about it. We already got the false flag thing out of the way. So we don't need, if you missed that, I already talked about that. Right now, we're going into the deeper symbolism of why they did this. Okay, why do they have to perform these rituals like they do? Because they have to pay tribute to these things. They're stuck. They have to pay tribute to these things. So again, let's type in the number 2675. I'm going to hit the database button, and I'm going to show you how many words in our entire database equals 2675. Guys, in our entire database of words, let's count it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Only 9 things, 9 total words in this whole database sums to 2675. You know how many thousands of words have been typed into this database? So again, the point is that what is the odds, like the actual odds, that I'm reading this book of magic, which I'm connecting to this event, And I'm talking about fire. They said there were shots fired. And they said that these priests, the sum of these secrets might be termed transcendental pyrotechny. So is it a coincidence that this word, transcendental pyrotechny, is a match to the name of this association which was throwing on? I mean, this is just mind-blowing to me. I just showed you only 9 things in a database of thousands of words, and these 2 things just happen to have a match. And maybe it's a coincidence. Maybe it is a coincidence. I don't know. I don't think it is. So, I don't know. You guys decide if you guys think this is a coincidence that these 2 things sum to the same gematria. I don't think it is. But now, this goes back to illumination and fire. Remember, fire is illumination. When you start a fire, you start it. The original people that would have used fire, they would have used it to illuminate stuff. So this is interesting. So if we go to the Hebrew, and we're going to decode the words AR, which is the root word for light or illuminator. Look at this. The root word for light in Hebrew sums to 201. And that means illuminator. And of course, the gematria of order of Illuminati equals 201, like the Jesuit order. Okay, so we're going back to the 201 because, again, in the beginning of the decode, we made the connection. It was 201 days before the Jesuit priest, the Zoroastrian priest. From now on, I'm literally going to look at the Jesuit priests as Zoroastrian priests, who keepers of the flame. Now, again, it was 201 days before his birthday, the Jesuit order 201, Catholic Pope 201, Order of Illuminati 201. The word in Hebrew, Jewish mysticism, is also 201. Thank you for reminding me. Jewish mysticism. So yeah, Jewish mysticism 201. Okay, so then we go over to the Hebrew and we see that the root word for illumination is 201 in Hebrew. I mean, wow. But look at this. Guys, this is the big reveal. Look at this. In the beginning of the decode, I revealed to you a cauldron standing in the Ashtash Baram in Iran, which is the longest burning flame in the world. And again, to Rebecca Carrington, a longtime subscriber, again, I'm not saying that's actually what the placement of the Uranus is in the sky. That's just what, again, I always tell people, I'm not decoding always necessarily the true things because I'm decoding the narrative. And the narrative is that yesterday, Uranus moved into Gemini. If you look at the true sky or the sidereal sky, no, it didn't move into Gemini. So technically, it's not true. But that fits perfectly with this decode, doesn't it, Rebecca? The whole thing's about a scam, a lie. So the fact that they align this with a scam, essentially a scam astrology event, makes perfect sense because it's all a scam. So to me, it makes perfect sense. So of course, I'm going to bring up the fact that there's in the sidereal or in the astrology of today, or sorry, not the, what am I saying? In the tropical astrology, they say that it moved in. Why do you think they gave us tropical astrology? Because it takes us away from looking at the true sky. I, of course, am much more inclined to look at the true sky. But that's not what we're decoding here. We're decoding the lie. And the lie is that supposedly yesterday, Gemini is where Uranus moved into. But guys, look at this. All the 201s, right? Look at the gematria of the name of the temple where the flame is at. Look at this. Look at this. This is the mic drop. Look. The Ashtash Baram equals 201. Guys, this is the location of the, again, let me just read. The Ashtash Baram, the fire of victory, is the highest grade of fire that can be placed in Zoroastrian fire temple as an eternal flame. And this one, it's just, I mean, it's just crazy, man. I just revealed to you all the 201s. The Illuminati, the word in Hebrew for illumination, the root word goes back to 201. And then you find out that we're Zoroastrians, the flyer of victory. And again, Ignatius of Loyola. What did he say? He said, go forth and set the world on fire. What was the big headline coming out of the script yesterday? Shots fired. This is why I believe shots fired was the big phrase being used. It was all pointing back to the fire and the magic that comes from Zoroastrianism, which I already showed connects to the Wizard of Oz. The guy's middle name, the wizard, is literally Zoroaster, and he has cauldrons of fire. And this is how he scares Dorothy and the rest of them. And you're telling me that the Ashtash Baram equals 201. I mean, and again, what's the gematria of Ignatius of Loyola? 201. Again, the Jesuits, I think there's a lot of evidence here, maybe not enough to make a claim, but enough evidence to see that the Jesuits are essentially modern day Zoroastrian priests. Okay? Look, here's a Zoroastrian priest tending the fire. A firekeeper at the temple of Yazd in Iran tends the world's longest burning man-made fire, which has been continually burning since 470. The fire was kindled by Persian King Peroz I during the Sassanid Empire and is regarded as the holiest fire in Zoroastrianism. I don't know why I put this at the end, but another interesting thing numerically is that from Trump's last hoax to his new hoax, 651 days, and the shooting happened on 425. Well, if you take the number 425 and you take it from base 10 to base 8, it's the number 651. So what are the odds? 651 days between these two things, which lands on 425, and the number 425 in base 8 is 651. I thought that was really crazy. So maybe that's why it also happened on this day, because it pays perfect tribute to the mathematics of it. But again, just to reiterate, the 201s, I even told you that April 25th sums to 201, right? It was 201 days before the priest's birthday. And April 25th equals 201. And again, we link this to the magic of Zoroastrianism and the Wizard of Oz, whose name is Zoroaster. And they're telling you right there, because again, he uses only the initials OZ, Oz, because Zoroaster is like the main theme, okay? And again, we talked about how the history of magic equals 201. Remember? The history of magic, 201. And the history of magic equals Zoroaster. So, and remember, last video, let me show you this. Look what Zoroaster equals. Zoroaster equals Washington, D.C. This shooting happened in Washington, D.C. It equals mind control. But look at this. In the two ciphers that are very hard to get matches, look at this. Standard and Latin. Zoroaster equals disclosure day. I'm telling you, there's something really going on here with Zoroaster and disclosure day. It's not a coincidence that these two things equal the same in two ciphers, which are hard to get matches. 1406 and 956. And this all connects back to what happened the other day with David Wilcock, because remember, it was all about the magician. David Wilcock, his last video was about Trump and the magician card picture he posted, right? And the magician equals 333. The video was 3 hours and 33 minutes long. It's just crazy. Like, all of this has been about the same theme, this magician. And remember the pyramid connection with the 333s. Now, I want to give a big shout out to Hixie, a subscriber. He pointed out something absolutely insane. I talked all about the 333s last decode, but look at this. I talked about disclosure day. Steven Spielberg is the one who's doing disclosure day. Look what happens when you type in Steven Spielberg disclosure day. Look. Steven Spielberg disclosure day equals 333. Guys, in my whole last decode, I missed this. What are the odds? Remember, I connected the whole thing to 333, which is the magician card equals 333. But look, 3033, that's how old he will be on the day of the movie. And if you type in the director's name and the movie, Steven Spielberg disclosure day, it equals 333. And not only does it equal 333, it equals the name of the book of Wilcock. His book's name is The Source Field Investigations, which equals 333, 423, and 162. So Steven Spielberg Disclosure Day is a 3-cipher match with David Wilcock's book, 333, 423, and 162. I mean, that's a 3-cipher match, folks. Not to mention the 333, which is a big number, right? And again, it does go back to the magician, which equals 333. So again, this all ties together. Everything ties together. Remember, David Wilcock died 3330 days after his 44th birthday, which is disclosure. So this is all pointing us once again to disclosure day, just pointing us further to disclosure day, I think. And then remember Artemis launch, Artemis 2 equals 333. That happened at the beginning of the month. But yeah, I mean, I just wanted to touch that 333 because I thought it was an important part. But the real important part is this, the magic. Oz Perlman, right? Notice that he's a mentalist for the Green Bay Packers. Remember, the first Wizard of Oz debuted in Green Bay. And in Green Bay, of course, the Emerald City, but he also had the Masonry G. Yeah, the wizard is the one who's against disclosure, right? He's being secrets, right? It's basically a war between revealing and keeping a secret. But yeah, Oz Perlman. Let me see if there's anything else I want to say here about this guy's gematria. When I think of Perlman, I think of Pearl Harbor. It is interesting that Oz Perlman equals astrologer and eternal flame. And remember, I told you Zoroastrian priests. Well, let's just talk about this 49 here. Seems to be an interesting number. So yeah, notice how all in the same cipher, Oz Perlman equals eternal flame. Now, again, eternal flame is essentially the Zoroastrian priests, but so does astrologer equals 49. Remember, the Zoroastrian priests were astrologers, very good astrologers, apparently. Also, the word magic trick equals 49. And again, Oz Perlman was doing a magic trick. Donald J. Trump equals 49, I believe. Donald J. Trump. Yeah, Donald J. Trump, 49. Antichrist 49 also, and Revelation, which is a revealing. Revelation 49. So all those equal 49 in the same cipher. And again, he's also known as Oz the Mentalist. And notice how Oz the Mentalist equals Society of Jesus. So going back to the Zoroastrian connection with the Society of Jesus and the fire. Carolyn Levitt was the press secretary. She's the one who said shots fired. Press secretary equals Society of Jesus. Magician card equals 56. Washington, D.C. 56. Disclosure Day 56. This was right before Melania Trump's 56th birthday. But let me just type in 187 and 191. So yeah, Society of Jesus, 191, 187. Oz the Mentalist, 187, 191. The press secretary was a big part of this. This happened on Gladys Presley's birthday. This is interesting. Shout out to Garo over at Jurassic Liars. The shooting happened on Gladys Presley's birthday. Whoops. So this is interesting because we already know the connection between Trump and Elvis and Seattle, the Emerald City. But again, April 25th, 1912, and Gladys Presley's given name, hold on. Gladys Presley's given name equals 191 too. Her name is Gladys Love Smith. So there is a whole, I was thinking that Jurassic would cover all this Elvis stuff. I'm assuming he already knew that this happened on Elvis's mother's birthday. So, and doesn't she look a lot like Trump, man? Like, if I didn't know any better, I feel like Gladys Presley could be Trump's mother. I mean, I'm not saying they look the same exactly, but the face shape, the scowling look, I mean, there's a very interesting semblance to her and Trump. She looks a bit like Rosie O'Donnell too, right? In this picture. But this picture especially, I just see a lot of Trump resemblance. So, I mean, if you look at Trump, I don't have a picture of Trump right next to her, but I'm sure Trump picture, I don't know what else to type in there. Yeah, I mean, you got this and you got this. I mean, I'm not saying they're the same, but I'm saying there is a resemblance. I'm not saying they're the same person or anything. I'm not saying that she's his mother, but there is a resemblance. So, yeah. And Trump, after the shooting, he came out and said, "Let's build the ballroom," like ball, like Baal, or Baal, the god. But check this out, guys. Carolyn Levitt. Look at this. Carolyn Levitt, the one who said shots fired before the event, her name equals the shooter. So not only, let's just play that again. Here's Carolyn Levitt.
Some shots fired tonight. There will be some shots fired tonight. There will be some shots fired tonight.
So there'll be some shots fired tonight, and my name will equal the name of the shooter. That's what she's also saying. Look. So the person who shot the fire equals her. What? Like, on top of her saying that, and then the fact that her name equals his name? I mean, and it equals Ignatius of Loyola, again, the founder of the Jesuits, the one I was just bringing all this together with. So, I mean, she said that, and then her name equals the shooter. Like, it's improbable. So I thought that was interesting. Super interesting, really. Oh, and look, the name of the holiday for yesterday in Italy was also known as this, the l'anniversario della Liberazione d'Italia. However you say that. It equals 231 also, which again, that's that same number I just showed you. That's an interesting number as well, because 231 is the 21st triangular number. If you go from Trump's shooting to the hoax to the hoax, it was the 21st pentagonal number. So definitely something going on with the 21 here. Yeah, I mean, we could talk more about Egypt. Of course, Egypt is also a main key to this. In fact, I think in the book, The History of Magic, Levy talks about the connection between Egypt and Zoroaster. But yeah, isn't it just crazy, guys, that the middle name of the Wizard of Oz is Zoroaster? I mean, I didn't even know this when I was already making all these connections with Zoroastrianism. I didn't know his middle name was Zoroaster. I had no idea. And of course, he's depicting himself as a Zoroaster here, like with the flames, you know. You know what's also interesting? Another interesting number to think about here is this all goes back to Mercury. So check this out. Mercury equals the man behind the curtain. And again, the Wizard of Oz is the man behind the curtain. But it also equals astrology. So is this kind of saying, you know, possibly that astrology is the man behind the curtain? It's the thing that's dictating everything that happens. I mean, we know what happens on a full moon, how people get crazy. Is astrology, is the movement of the planets dictating the events? Is it pulling the strings behind the curtain? You know, I thought that was an interesting thing to think about. I'm not saying we have 100% proof that just because they equal that's why, but I just find that super interesting. Now, remember, this happened on the 86th birthday of Al Pacino. Now, again, I mentioned Al Pacino earlier, but Al Pacino, 86 years old, Mercury equals 86. I believe there was another 86. Oh, the first two names of the Oz equals 86. MAGA equals 80. So MAGA equals Mercury. Both equal 86. Oh, yeah, April 25th equals 86. So the 86th birthday of Al Pacino, right? 86. Oscar Zoroaster, the Wizard of Oz, first two initials, 86. MAGA 86. Mercury 86. Also, remember, the leader of Iran just died at 86. What else was I going to say about 86? There was something else. The shooting was on the 86th birthday of Al Pacino, 86th day before the Wizard of Oz, Oz Perlman's birthday. Oh, okay. That's what I forgot. So if you go from the shooting to the magician who was at the event, it was 86 days before his birthday. the magician, Oz Perlman. So that's just another more confirmation of the Mercury 86 connection. Again, the trickster. Shout out to Donut, who did a whole video with a lot of gematria. I was impressed with Donut's gematria. He talked a lot about the 123 and the trickster code. Notice that trickster equals April Fools. So all these things equal 123. April Fools, the Italian festival that was celebrated yesterday. Now, Ozzy Osbourne is another interesting one to talk about. Ozzy Osbourne equals 201 and 123. Now, Ozzy Osbourne died last year, right? So let's just go from Ozzy Osbourne's death to the shooting. And it was It was 9 months and 3 days. Again, we talked about the 93. It was 93 weeks after Trump's first hoax shooting. And 93 is the gematria of the Book of the Law. And Ozzy Osbourne sings about Mr. Crowley, who wrote the Book of the Law. Ozzy Osbourne, 201, 123. The numbers I talked about all stream. But he's known as the Prince of Darkness, right? Notice how Prince of Darkness equals 93. It was 9 months. The shooting was 9 months, 3 days after the Prince of Darkness died, Ozzy Osbourne. And then you had the guy named Oz at the show, right? And the 93, I already presented the 93 in the beginning of the stream, if you missed. Also, Book of the, I already talked about the 93s, but the history of magic equals 93, and Jewish mysticism equals 93. So a lot of 93s also. But these are just extra numbers that aren't as important, in my opinion, but they're definitely interesting. What else? Does anyone in the chat? I need to go to the chat. I'm neglecting you guys. Please hit those likes if you enjoyed the stream. Again, guys, if you hit the likes, it helps me get this video out to more people who have no idea that this is all. Hopefully we can break through some of this mind control and start to spread more truth. That's what I hope these videos do. All I really care about in this world, I don't care about material things. I don't care about having so much stuff. I just want to live somewhat comfortably, and I want to share the truth with the world. That's all I really care about. And sorry. Let me just go through some comments, but excuse me for coughing into the mic. Let's see. Much love to you also. Mr. S says he wants to get on the stream. Yeah, if you can keep it, if we can keep it under 15 minutes, I don't want to be making this stream too long. Yeah, let me put the link in the chat. Mr. S, I will have him on. Oh, I forgot to even talk about the Ronald Reagan stuff. I'm sorry, guys. This happened in the same location as the Ronald Reagan. This happened at the Washington Hilton. And look, the hotel was the site of the assassination attempt on President Ronald Reagan in 1981. So 45 years to the, I mean, not to the day, but almost. I mean, not too far off. Oh, look at the address. Oh, sorry, never mind. But yeah, it's what mockery, having it at the same location as the Ronald Reagan. And, you know, Ronald Reagan. Ronald Reagan was the first to use "Let's Make America Great Again." I mean, so Ronald Reagan, the first MAGA president, and now the new MAGA president. And now they have a similar shooting at a similar location. I mean, what a joke. So there's more going on here with Ronald Reagan. I think Derek from Gematria will probably do a deep dive into that. I just thought I'd focus on the magic. Oh, look, Ronald Reagan equals 56. This is a number, obviously a huge number. Society of Jesus, 56. Yeah, you guys know the 56. Not going to dwell on that too long because I do want to get Mr. S on here. Mr. S, did you see the link in the chat? Did I drop that or did I forget? And now my stream is going a bit slow here. Hold on. Does anyone else have anything while we wait? Sky Girl saying Zion is in Oz. Yeah, that's a good one. That's a good one. In Oz is Zion. I'm just waiting here because I was gonna get ready to end it, but I'm gonna just keep going. Yeah, the Star of David. Yeah, I think it is kind of in there. Anagram of Melania is me alien. Wow, interesting. Yeah, that's another one. However you say this, deoxyribonucleic acid. I don't know how to say that, but that equals 201. Mr. S is in the house. What's up, man?
Can you hear me?
I hear you. I'm assuming everyone else can hear you. If you can't hear him, make sure you let us know in the chat. Can you guys say something again?
Yes. Can you hear me?
Okay, we'll wait for confirmation. I just want to make sure. Okay,
Yes.
Coffee Girl gives the thumbs up,
Yeah,
so we're good.
Okay. I just want to make sure my background's not too noisy. God bless the chat room. Thank you, Cody. I'm just gonna basically regurgitate what I already wrote in the chat and kind of expand on it because Trump said last night the guy was a lone wolf. And it just so happens that the Minnesota Timberwolves, Cody, was playing the Nuggets last night. Now, when we speak, so as we was confirming when we speak on Minnesota, we know Minnesota is the home of Prince.
Right.
It's the home of Prince, and it's also the home of the Twins. So that's how that seals that up right there.
Yeah, and they're leading the series too, huh? They won last night as well.
They won. Yeah, I watched the game. They did win, but Ant-Man is out. But
okay.
it is kind of amazing because this happened on the same weekend that the Michael Jackson biopic came out, and Michael Jackson will always connect to Prince on a musical competitive rivalry. Well,
that's really interesting because there is a royal family connection to all this. I just don't always, because a lot of people are like, I mean, there's always a royal family connection, and I saw a huge one with this shooter, or with Oz Perlman actually, because he's born the same year as Prince William. So there is a very interesting, and since you're bringing up Prince, that's why I'm saying that, because it seems like there is a true like royal family connection going on here, but I won't get into that now. But that's a great observation. The wolf also represents Rome, right? Like the wolf from
exactly
suckled the twins from Rome, right? Romulus and Remus.
Also, that the Oz Perlman, he's born on the same day as the World Cup Finals. So this is a potential clue to the World Cup Finals. July 19th,
the same day as
when they'll have the World Cup Finals. Let me just double check and make sure. Yep, July 19th.
You're right. Yeah. Wow. Okay.
So
that's a good one. That is a good one.
So we got to keep our eyes on that. But I wanted to mention this because I was mentioning in the chat room when we speak about the Wizard of Oz, we never spoke on that movie that came out. It was a prequel that came out almost like more than 10 years ago, and it had James Franco in it.
James Franco. What movie was it?
It was a. I'll look it up. James Franco Wiz. I think it was just called Oz the Great and Powerful. It came out 2013. There we go.
Okay. Huh.
Cody, you won't believe when his birthday was. His birthday is April 19th, man.
James Franco, huh? Uh-huh.
Birthday April 19th.
Yeah. Wow.
If you remember, we've always like long ago, I'm pretty sure you've done a decode on James Franco and what you call it, that movie with Seth Rogen, correct?
I did do a little bit of a decode on that too. I tell you one thing though, another great decode in the community, Migu, who goes by Gematria Book. He's always talking about the Golden Gate Bridge. He's done a lot of work on James Franco and his connection to the Golden Gate Bridge and a eventual possible attack on the Golden Gate Bridge by the North Korean leader Kim Jong-un, because he connected it all to this movie, right? The Interview.
Now,
of course,
no, go ahead.
James Franco has the same birthday as the Golden Gate Bridge construction ending.
Wow. Yep. That was WrestleMania weekend, correct? So now, I can't believe you didn't catch this, man. Who went into the Hall of Fame? Dennis Rodman.
Dennis Rodman
went into the WWE Hall of Fame. Yes.
Oh my gosh.
You know his nickname, right? The Worm.
Right, and he's friends with Kim Jong-un.
The Worm, Wormwood, Artemis.
Right, yeah. Huh. I did not catch that. He went into this year's Hall of Fame.
He went into this year's Hall of Fame. And,
I did not catch that. Man. See, I try to catch everything, but it's really hard because there's so much going on. But
now
that
let's
puts a lot together.
Now James Franco, he was also the Green Goblin in Spider-Man 2 and 3. We all remember that if we've seen that back in the day. What is his character's name? Harry Osborn.
Right. Right, Harry Osborn.
Now check this out. He also turned 48 years old, Cody. 48, as you've spoken on and everybody else, 48 is a big number for this year. Big number. It was the date numerology of how the year started.
Right.
And it actually in the latest quote unquote assailant Cole Thomas Allen, his name equals 48.
Right. Yeah, and the 48 came up a lot. I didn't even talk about it, but his name equals 48. I talked about how this is synced up with The Godfather. Godfather equals 48. So does witchcraft equals 48. Donald Trump equals 48. Hoax equals 48. Astrology 40. I mean, yeah, it's and again, another thing is everyone was talking about how they pulled JD Vance off the stage first, right?
The potential 48th president, potentially.
A potential 48th president, yeah. So that is the 48, it did come up a lot, and it normally does. It is a big number. It kind of goes hand in hand with the 47. I think kind of a rule of Colel thing. But yeah, he turned 48 then. This how
old is Ramen? The Worm. Wow.
Yeah, the Worm thing is really interesting.
Look at that, Thomas. Look at that. No. You got to be coding me. Go back to that picture in Wikipedia.
Which one?
If you click back in Wikipedia and the Dennis Rodman link.
Oh, Dennis Rodman?
Yeah, click back at that Wikipedia. You'll oh man. I'm sorry, Cody. Go back to the Dennis Rodman Wikipedia page.
Okay, yeah, this is his Wikipedia page here.
No, I was talking about Dennis Rodman.
Oh,
Yeah.
this one.
No. No. Dennis Rodman's Wikipedia page. I kind of just wanted to point something out just to show everybody that how surreal the reality is. If you go back to Dennis Rodman's Wikipedia page real quick.
Yeah. So okay. So here's. Are you watching live? Can you see me live?
Oh, hold on. Oh, I'm kind of far back. I'm looking at the other screen that's kind of back. Yeah. Go ahead. You could click on that.
Okay.
Look. It says Thomas on his shirt.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Oh.
Sorry about that, Cody. I'm watching two screen.
No, that's fine. But yeah, you got the Thomas thing, the twin stuff. And then again, like I said, the shooter, his middle name is Thomas. Where is this guy? Cole Thomas Allen. There's gotta be, I mean, the Church of Satan thing is clear. Born the Church of Satan founder's birthday. But Allen makes me wonder.
Some people in the chat were decoding his name, Cole and Allen. If somebody could start writing what it really meant, because I don't want to butcher it. But they said he went to a Caltech, and one of the scientists who died went to Caltech as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
He's got I forgot to mention it, but it just his first and last name has the 47,
Wow.
But
and the 79, the gold, the elemental gold.
Yeah, that's how old Trump is still right now. Another thing I talked about recently was the number 164 code. And
yes.
Notice that this guy has double 164 gematria. That's the Apollyon code. And what's interesting is it's actually, if you go from the Ronald Reagan, like this was basically the similar to event to the Ronald Reagan.
Correct.
But what's crazy is if you go from the Ronald Reagan assassination attempt to yesterday, in between, there's 16461 days. I literally just changed my number behind my name on YouTube to this. So I thought it was.
Cody, perhaps, not to cut you off, I'm sorry. Perhaps it's maybe Trump represents this thing where he's kind of playing on two destinies. Because Ronald Reagan famously survived an assassination. Whereas where there's other things like Kennedy and Lincoln, they did not survive. So I think Trump is kind of playing in two worlds. No wonder he's kind of known as a time traveler.
Right. Yeah. He's being portrayed as the guy who doesn't get taken out, like the other ones, like at least not yet. I mean, at least not yet. But we know they're all hoaxes. But at the same time, are they going to actually pull one where he does actually get mortally shot? But I don't know. I mean, a lot of people think that he will. Like, again, Jurassic Liars thinks that later this year on August 4th. I did find it interesting that they say this shooting happened at 8:40. Oh, actually, they changed it now. They say 8:36 now, but it was 8:40. They had it originally, which I thought was interesting because the first assassination attempt on Trump, where he got his ear clipped, was at 6:11, and then this one was originally at 8:40. So 8:4 and 6:11, those are Jurassic Liars 2 dates that he always talks about. So I thought that was interesting.
And if I'm correct, from an astrological standpoint, when he got nipped in the ear in this second attempt, Uranus was in the same exact spot astrologically. So I believe Uranus was at 29 Taurus, and this one was 0 degrees Gemini, like 1 degree off.
Oh.
Yes. So this was basically, it's almost like same place, same timing kind of thing. If
me
I'm
look.
correct, I can't check right now. I could try to check.
Let me. I can pull it up here. I think. That's the great thing about this. I just gotta find the. Whoops. So if we go, we gotta find Uranus. 7:13 Eastern time at 6:11. Let me just go to this part. I do want to see if that's right, or at least even if it's close, that's really crazy. Okay, so it's saying it was. Well, it was at 26 Taurus. I guess it would still be in Taurus because it's been. I think it's been in Taurus for a while. Obviously, it says 26 degrees Taurus. Did we lose him? I've been talking to myself. I didn't even realize I lost him. Well, I'll get ready to wrap it up then. If it's already 1 hour 36 minutes, so I don't want to stream much longer. Oh, he says he's back. Hold on. There you are.
Cody, you got me?
Yeah, I got you. I hear you.
All right. Yes.
What was you saying?
No. The first assassination on July 13th, Uranus was supposed to be at 29 degrees Taurus or one Gemini.
Okay.
If I'm correct.
Was that in? Let's see.
That was the Butler, Pennsylvania situation.
Okay, and that's you're talking sidereal, right? Or I mean tropical.
I was talking tropical. Okay, it wasn't I was wrong about that. 26 degrees.
Yeah, because it's saying here was at 26, 24, according to my thing here, but it's because it was moving closer. And this is again, as Rebecca Carrington, who's a great astrologer, by the way, she was in the chat earlier. Obviously, we know that the true sky, if you look at the true sky, it was not what to say, it was not actually in Gemini, but they do follow tropical. I mean, most of the mainstream, so
yeah.
Yeah, but anything else, man, that you saw?
I'll just make one quick comment because I think we need to periodically go back to that weapons movie. We cannot forget that was the name of the witch in that movie, because we're talking about magicians and witches. Her name was Aunt Gladys.
Right, Gladys.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this happened on Gladys Presley's birthday, huh? So that come out on 8/8. Let's just see what the date duration is between that. Oh, I mean, 261 days, 260 days. Might be something I have to think. Yeah, I might have to think more about that, but there probably is something. I mean, like I said, I don't think it's a coincidence that this happened on Gladys Presley's birthday. And it was her 114th birthday. So,
wow.
And technically, it would be the beginning of her 115th year of life if she was still alive, right? Because as soon as you finish 114 years, you start your 115th year. And of course, the day of the year this happened on is the 115th day of the year. So there is an alignment there that kind of can't look past. And don't forget, killing equals 115 in 2 ciphers. Of course, no one was actually killed, so
Thank God.
or supposedly that's what they say. So yeah.
Emerald City.
Yeah, I thought that was interesting. This happened the 115th day of the year, like Emerald City equals 115.
We can't forget Seattle's Emerald City,
Right.
who just
Seattle,
won the
yeah.
Super Bowl.
Right. And that actually connects perfectly because I talked this whole stream about magic, the book of magic, the history of magic by Eliphas Levi. And well, when is his birthday?
February 8th.
We covered extensively during the Super Bowl that it was Eliphas Levi's birthday, the Super Bowl, and that's when Seattle won. So, you know, and who's based out of, and his book's called the History of Magic, which equals 201, and who's based out of Seattle that has that big 201? William Henry Yates. So,
Mr. Microsoft.
right. So there's, and how many days was it after the Super Bowl again? I got to check that again because there's going to be something. It was 76 days after the Super Bowl. Oh, that's interesting. It was 2 months and 17 days after the Super Bowl. And that movie Weapons, it's about the 217.
There we go. There we go.
Also 76 days, which is Skull and Bones. It was also 2 months, 2 weeks, and 3 days, 223. That's the 48th prime. So there's a couple different connections you could make there, actually. So I'm wondering if this is just more predictive programming for a possible actual Seattle event, because Jurassic has done plenty of work over the years on that, and a lot of those alignments are improbable. Remember, you had that racehorse named Seattle. That's the one thing that I can't get over. They have a horse called Seattle Slew. And, you know, Seattle Slew, I mean, it's pretty clear. He wins it on June 11th. Another interesting day to watch coming up is May 7th. That's his death date. Seattle Slews. And we'll be having the Kentucky Derby coming up as well.
Something to look for. There was somebody from Kentucky. I got to look back.
The Kentucky Derby this year is actually like a little bit more emphasized for me because it's the year of the horse. So
absolutely.
Renegade. Renegade is one of the favorites. Now, Renegade is the code name for Barack Obama. His Secret Service name.
He was the president during Super Bowl 48.
Right, he would have been, yeah. And now Renegade is, I think, one of the favorites, the horse Renegade.
But I'll say this right now, Cody. All this shooting stuff is very much a distraction, because I think if there's a potential Trump demise, we're looking at a plane or a helicopter or a limousine. Because you come to notice that we was talking about this movie that was supposed to come out with Samuel Jackson, with the Beast. They postponed it. I don't know if it's, but I think if they ever do come out with it, that will be the clue to everything. Let me see. You see, it says upcoming movie. It's an upcoming movie. It was supposed to have been out. So that's how you know the simulation is kind of planning that to be, you know, the one that tells the real story. This movie.
Yeah. What's it called again?
No, it's called The Beast. I'm looking at it right now. The Beast upcoming movie.
The Beast. Samuel L. Jackson.
And he's gonna play the president himself. You know, we can't forget he was Uncle Sam in the Super Bowl halftime 2 years ago.
The beast. It does, yeah, it doesn't even give a date right now.
Nope.
Well, I mean, we've been talking about how the beast equals 136, and the 136 eclipse is connected to Trump. It was on his birthday in the year 1360. The Jesuits also equals 136. So this movie, the title of it also equals 136. That's a big number. And then again, that eclipse next year over Egypt is in Saros 136. That's that big 136 eclipse. So, and again, Trump this year will be 80 years old in the year 26, and he was born in 46. So it's all the gematria lines up. And that makes me wonder if this is connected to the White House event that's happening on the 250th anniversary of on Trump's birthday, because it's called the 250, right? The UFC 250 or whatever.
Yes.
And this shooting happened on the day leaving 250 days in the year.
Wow.
So it could be pointing to, and this happened at a White House correspondence, right? So on the 250th anniversary at the White House, man, that's a big day to watch for sure. I mean, I'm not saying they're going to do something on that day, but it is interesting that we had a shooting on the day leaving 250 days in the year. So definitely watch that. That'll be here before you know it. It's already almost May.
Time is flying by.
Sure is. Bridge collapse equals 250. Believe.
You won't believe it, Cody. There's a little known fact that there's actually a Golden Gate Bridge in Spain. Let me look up the name. I think it's called the April 25th Bridge. It's actually in Spain. It actually uses the same steel that the Golden Gate uses. I'm trying to look it up right now. I'm trying to find it right now.
Golden Gate Bridge in Spain.
Yeah, the Carlos Fernandez. Is this it? No, this is not it. The April day. I'm gonna put the link in the chat. The 25th de Abril Bridge. That's the name of it.
Wait, what?
Yeah, I got you right now.
The name of the bridge is the 25th of April Bridge. What on earth? Guys, are you still alive with me in the chat? I know me and we've been talking, but look at this, guys. This looks like
that is a carbon copy.
Guys, this looks like the Golden Gate Bridge, and it's called the April 25th Bridge. And again, bridge collapse equals 250, and April 25th is the day leaving 250 days in the year.
Cody, look. It opened August 6, 1966, Cody.
We need to go. Yeah, we need to make this measurement right now because this is big. The same year the Church of Satan was founded, too.
Well, August 6 is 86. So how the hell you open a bridge on the 86 code?
Well, that's not a good.
I don't want to be on that.
It opened on the opposite day of the calendar of the Golden Gate Bridge.
I think I know what you mean. Yeah.
Because no, the Golden Gate Bridge opened like May 27th. Is that when it opened? It opened on the 147th day of the year. This
Correct.
bridge opened on the day leaving 147 days in the year. Wow, this is a huge code, man. I'm gonna have to do a whole video on this probably now. Oh my goodness! Wait a minute. That is crazy. Look at the date duration, guys. Look at this. From the bridge in Spain called the April 25th Bridge to yesterday, it's a palindrome. 21812. It's 812 forward and backwards. No, it's actually 218 forward and backwards. Well, the bridge was open on the 218th day of the year. And the Golden Gate Bridge was open on the day leaving 218 days in the year. And 218 is the emergency code that Trump always sends out on the phones. You guys know what I'm talking about? The emergency code? Like, he sends them out at 218. Remember when he sent out those emergency alert codes? It was always at 218.
Mayday, Mayday.
Guys, this is crazy. I'm telling you, this is really interesting, man. This is like really interesting. And it's a palindrome, guys. 218 forward and backwards.
Look at that. Susan's birthday is August 6th, and she lives in San Fran, if I'm correct.
Oh, wow, Susan. Wow. Yeah, she does
There you
live in
have it.
San. 147 windows on the White House. Yep. Wow, this is huge, guys. I'm telling you, right on the live stream, we found something so big. I'm telling you, this is bigger than you think. I mean, that's an amazing addition there, Mr. S. Let's see what this. I'm going to try to just type it in the way they have it here and see if I can get a gematria of it.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, how about that? 121. Ponte. Let's do it in the. I mean, why is it called the 25th of April bridge, though? Does it make any sense? Does it?
Wait, time out. They should say why. They should say why.
It doesn't make any sense. It doesn't say here. It doesn't say in the top anywhere why they call it that. I mean, I'm gonna look into this, but wow, this is crazy. I hope that Migu guy, his channel Gematria Book, he's all about the Golden Gate Bridge.
Yeah, I hope he picks up on this. That
I don't know
looks
if he's
exactly
watching.
like the Golden Gate. This is crazy.
Yeah, and this 218 code is very ominous because
Well, Cody, that's August 12th, the second solar eclipse for this year.
that too. So okay, so how many days was this? Man, I gotta. Whew.
Wow, Spielberg.
So let me go to the next solar eclipse this year, guys, is on August 12th. So this shooting was 109 days before that, and shooting equals 109. So 109 days before the eclipse, shooting equals 109, 324. Oh. Let me just see how old the Golden Gate Bridge was on this yesterday.
Go ahead.
Golden Gate Bridge construction, Golden Gate Bridge open. Wow, okay, interesting. 333 days after its anniversary yesterday.
333?
88 years and 333 days old.
Wow.
So 88333 yesterday, the Golden Gate Bridge. That's interesting. We just talked about 333. It's been a number we just talked about on the channel.
So, somebody in the chat, Travis, just said that there's a channel that says we seek to find, talking about how Trump is supposed to get got on May 19th. That would be a month from what he said. He said, we're going to reschedule this dinner. We'll do it back in a month. Obviously, that's code for something else. It's probably somebody or something connected to May 19th. He doesn't have to necessarily go that day.
Right. Man. I'm just reading the comments because I don't know if anyone's dropping. I think I'm going to get ready to log off, though, because it's been a long stream already. But it's already been an hour 54. But we found an absolute gem here at the end, thanks to Mr. S. And I think, guys, probably going to be doing a decode on this in the next couple of days because this is clearly connected to this bridge that's called the April 25th bridge. I mean, what the heck?
I had found that out a few weeks earlier, so I knew something. I was expecting something to happen yesterday, and voila, that was it.
I was also really looking at yesterday too because everyone was talking about the Uranus in Gemini thing.
Mm-hmm.
So I kind of figured, we get something. I didn't know it was gonna. And there's been this thing before. Yeah, I won't go into it, but I'll look more into this bridge thing because I find it interesting that the name of the bridge is commonly also known as the Tagus River Bridge. Tagus is one letter off from Magus. So, and the magus is kind of like the bridge between heaven and earth. If you look at the tarot,
we got to remember, we got to even go back to Stranger Things when we dealt with the countdown with when they played the Prince song, how they was going to turn the upside down to the right side up, and it just so happens that the two major eclipses that happened touch both poles. It's going to touch the North Pole, Greenland, and it's going to touch the South Pole.
right.
I believe that's what they were speaking to.
Yeah, I don't. Steven Spielberg's full name equals 218 as well. That's interesting. Also, Hermes equals 218. So Hermes being the magician also means essentially Mercury. So anyway, somebody's saying, hold on, what's this? Actually, 12821 days from the start of the construction on the World Trade Center to 9/11. Oh, interesting. Okay, that's a good one.
Sky Girl just said you get coal. That means like a piece of coal, and then you have Allen, which means rock. So this is obviously pointing to Jupiter, Peter, and I do have something to say about the project Hail Mary, because that's what Elvis further connects to Cody. But I don't know. We'll probably be here all day if I get into that. But
yeah, if we keep going, if it wasn't already so long into the stream, I would definitely go more. But we're already almost 2 hours, so I am going to get off. But we'll bring you on another time, though, for sure, man.
Definitely, Cody. I'm definitely if you're down for the round table, I think we should have a round table. I think we should probably do a round table as a World Cup preview.
Yeah,
because that's going to be one of the biggest events anyway.
Yeah, and I think it would be good to do that. It's been a while since I kind of got the round table started like a couple of years back, and then AJ kind of took over for all the collab stuff, and then we obviously started the eye to eye, but I think it would be good to get a round table on my channel and kind of get everyone on. I'd like to get Derek, and we have you on. We can have Sean. We can have Rambo, AJ, whoever wants to come on, right? So
I think everybody should go before me, but I would be honored either way.
No, you could definitely come on. I mean, like I said, you're always adding great stuff, and so I mean, I just like to have anybody who wants to come on. I'd love to have on. So we'll look into setting that up definitely before the World Cup, I would say. So
and I just want to say one more thing before I get off. Like to all you in the chat, definitely type all your comments after the live stream. And I think we should start to really utilize the community board as much, because, I would type certain things, and, it's not that I'm looking for likes or anything, but I think you guys, have great comments in the chat. So definitely share it on the community board, because, some of y'all might not want to come up, but you probably have great stuff that you're talking about. There's too many comments to me.
Yeah, I miss a lot. I do miss a lot. I try to get everything, but at least everything that's I feel like is considerable. But I think that's why I always tell everyone after the stream's over, if I didn't see your comment in the live stream chat, drop it in the comments. I read every comment on every video, guys. I don't always comment because it would take me days if I left a message to everyone's comment, but I always read and I always like it, so you guys know I'm reading them, because how many times has comments been inspiration for one of my videos? Again, this is a teamwork here, so that's a good addition. That's definitely a good thing to remember. So.
Yeah. And I just want to thank the chat. I'm gonna get off, Cody. I'm gonna let you get the closing, but I just want to thank the chat, and thank you very much, Cody, for letting me on, because I think I had so much to say. I didn't think I kind of wanted to just get up here and say it to you.
Yeah, I'm glad you come on. We wouldn't have found this The Dennis Rodman thing actually connects to the Golden Gate Bridge stuff. To be honest, everything that you share connects to the Golden Gate Bridge. So I hope
And
that
don't forget, his name is the Worm, and we was just speaking on wormwood, and I believe Chernobyl disaster anniversary just came up too.
that's today.
Wow, there you
That's
have it.
today. I didn't even mention that, but today is the anniversary of the Wormwood. I didn't even think of that until now, but because it's Melania Trump's birthday also. And it's interesting too because I've been watching this show Smallville about Superman, and it all ties into what's happening the last 2 days too.
Superman is the Man of Steel,
right? And the Ubermensch.
Yes,
Ubermensch is connected to Zoroastrianism as well, because the Ubermensch essentially means overman or Superman. And today is the birthday of Tom Welling, who played Superman in Smallville. So essentially, this happened where I'm at. This happened on his birthday.
You just said Tom again.
Yeah, again, Thomas again. Yeah. That's why, and you know what? I've been for a whole month. I've been watching this show Smallville. It's about Superman as a kid, you know. And again, I've been watching this date 4/26 because I thought there might be something. I just felt the universe was kind of pointing me to this show and to look into this because of all this right now. And then I thought, you know, we probably have something around this guy's birthday. And technically, like I said, when this happened, it was in where I'm at. It was already his birthday, April 26th. So, yeah, I'm gonna have to look and again, we get the shooter's name as being Thomas. So that's interesting. Oh my gosh, his name even equals 90. Wow. Okay. Yeah, I'll hang it. His name equals Carol. His name even equals the shooters in reverse, 231. So there we go. Interesting. All right, looks like Mr. S dropped out. My computer's dying, and so I'm going to drop out of here, guys. Thank you guys so much for all of your comments. Thank you, Mr. S, for coming on. And I will see you guys in the next live stream. And thanks for everyone for staying on. Please hit that like if you enjoyed. Make sure you leave your comments in the chat or in the comments after the video so I can read them. And I will see you guys in the next decode. Take care. God bless you all.